So, here we are, and you're having your nails done. Oh, this is Celia Birtwell.
Well, it's very exciting to do it, Stephen. I'd only do it for you, because it's a real experiment, I must say.
It's a real experiment.
So, let's see what we can do.
Marian Newman, who designed the manicure,
right.
She said, oh yes, it would work, but we don't actually know 100%.
No, we don't. We'll have to try.
No, because I just love the idea, when she suggested this to me, I just love the idea that your nails became nibs, because it's what you do. And
but you see, when you draw, you have to really hold two together, don't you, to get a grip on the pen. So I might have to grip them. Do you see what I mean? I might have to do that.
Now, I was thinking, if I was doing it, how would I do it? And I think I'd just do it with my index finger.
Maybe you can teach me something, Stephen.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
You're the textile designer.
Well, that's true. That's true. I think that'd be fun. We'll try.
Yeah.
Have we got the inks here?
Yeah, the inks will come over in just a second.
Okay, lovely, lovely.
How did you start textile?
I think it's all I've ever been able to do, so I'm very lucky that I do something I really love doing. I started when I was, my earliest memories of drawing at my auntie's table in Manchester. And
how old? That's your earliest memories?
One of my first memories, well, I suppose I probably was 4 or 5.
Right.
And my cousin was my friend, and she was my aunt, rather strict aunt. And then I remember drawing at the table. So that was 100 years ago. But and then I went to art school, which I absolutely loved. And I didn't quite know whether I almost thought I might like to do ceramics, but I found pattern is something that's obviously within me. So I've been very lucky because I love what I do, and I seem to have quite a nice audience. Yep.
It's interesting about pattern though. I remember when I was on foundation, and before I went to St Martin's, and I really couldn't make the design thing work. And we were doing a textile design, and it really was not working at all. And this, it was actually an American intern, like a sort of guest teacher, came to us, and he said, Stephen, what you have to do is put it in repeat. And I was doing these drawings of Muffin. I had a puppet of Muffin the Mule, and I was drawing his little legs. And he said, well, if you repeat that 3 times, there, you've got a pattern. And if you repeat it up here 3 times, you've got a design. And it was one of those eureka moments that the scales really sort of fell from my eyes, because I didn't know how to do it. And then...
Yes, because the whole thing is repetition, really. I used to do a design, and I used to cut it up into 4 sections, and then work the repeat out. This is pre-computer, obviously. And that was the way I'd see where the design led on. Does that make sense? I used to cut it into quarters. So I'd stick that piece there, and that piece there, and you'd fill in the centre bit, and then you got a rhythm going, which was a repeat. But you could... I
think you're showing everybody your tricks.
Well, I don't have to do that now with computers. I tell you, I'm much lazier than that now.
Do you use a computer a lot then? Or?
I always draw... I'm always drawing... Well, I paint in gouache on nice paper. Those are the 2 requirements. And then I often do drawings, if it's for fashion, I always do the fashion drawings, which I've just done this collection for Uniqlo, and I've done it back to front. Yeah, it's really good. I've really enjoyed it. They're really nice to work with, and they're quite witty and funny, and a bit like I like. And but I normally start like that, and then I did some drawings for the lookbook for Uniqlo, but they're a bit stiff because normally I do the fashion drawing before I know what I'm going to do as a textile. But then I've done the textiles first. Then you had to work backwards.
Because so your designs, they fill out.
They flow and they
fill out to the pattern.
Yeah. So this way I had to control the figures and give them a look. I did it for Topshop a long time ago, and so now they've got these little heads that they quite like, so they might use them for the launch as little masks.
Oh, right. When is the launch?
The 21st of March.
Right, and that's when it actually goes on sale in the shop then?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And is it women's or men's or?
Well, I want to do men's shirts, I keep saying, because there's very few men's shirt patterns that are around that I like.
Yeah. And that's
they
always
won't
the thing.
bite with that, they're very set, but I keep on.
I mean, that was one of the things about Liberty's shirts as well, I quite love, because they're always in Tana Lawn prints.
Lovely, and lovely cotton, Well, no, this is all T-shirts and bags, scarves. It's a big collection.
Wow.
They need a bit of print in Uniqlo.
Yes, yes.
Because it's, but the fibres they use are quite interesting, because they're all, I mean, the scarves are so reasonable, but the fabric feels like nun's veiling. Feels really lovely. And I'm sure it's a mixture of all sorts of chemicals. But
love chemicals.
I know, chemicals. I know. Well, we all
like.
Can
I try a few hats on you?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes. Yes.
I've got some here. Let me try some. I mean, this is not going to particularly go with your outfit, but that's quite tailored-y.
Yes,
that could go with a little tie thing.
Quite 40s, isn't it?
Yes.
A bit like the women, the film The Women.
Yes, yes. That's
Yes.
good. No, oh, we don't have the mirror there yet.
Don't worry about me.
Oh, there we are, over there.
Yes, I quite like that. I don't know whether the outfit fucks with it, but I think...
So there's that one. I think if you're talking about the women... So, when did you see the women? Was that part of your growing up?
I saw it...
Turn towards me.
I think it's a remarkable film. Every art student should see it.
Look at that. That's very the women as well.
Yeah, very. Yeah, yeah. I love the way you never saw a man in the film. It was just all women, and very stylish women, wasn't it?
I saw the women at St Martin's. I remember it was the first term, and we were a bunch of punks, and we went in and we saw, what's this ridiculous film called The Women? And literally after the first 10 minutes, we were just screaming with laughter, because it was so immensely stylish, apart from anything.
Well, it was a wrong period when the punks generation was going on, wasn't it, in a way? Slightly wrong for the time.
I don't know, it was really arch, in the way that punks also were very arch.
A guy at the Royal College introduced me to it many years ago, and it's always stayed with me as a classic film, style and...
Look into the mirror, and I'm just going to hold this one on. This is very good with the eye colour.
It's very pretty blue. Very pretty.
So that's a possibility.
Yeah.
I think you need to have a hat on to sketch with, you see.
Whatever.
It's got little ships on.
Do you want me to...
Yeah, little sails. How's that one? Actually that doesn't suit you.
I don't think that suits me, dare I say.
No, you can't.
Very good. I think that blue's lovely, and I like the
Little
look
black
of
one,
that one with the quill.
This is very much like viewers at home. Viewers at home, they can always use vases as hat stands at all. They always work very well. Either that or bottles of water. And that's quite nice back from the headline as well. Let me just turn away from me. Let's put that on. That's quite artistic.
Yeah, I think it should be artistic.
Look at me again. A little bit of hair coming at the front. And then, of course, you've got a quill.
Yes.
Like your quill.
I won't take it off my head, is it? I might have to.
So, tell me more about drawing. So you like to... You said about good quality paper, and you use gouache.
Yes, always.
Always.
I used to use magic markers years ago, because that was instant in my sketchbooks.
Right.
And I never used gouache then, so I used to use a series of... I remember going to America and getting different nibs, different scales. They were terrific, but...
of course, the magic markers actually came off the market. I remember when they sort of came off the market, because they weren't allowed to use the sort of particular sort of alcohol or whatever in them.
Right.
Yeah, because I think basically every time you took the lid off the magic marker, there's a hole in the ozone layer.
Is that right?
Yeah, oh
Yes.
yeah. They
Yeah,
were
they were quite pungent.
They were super toxic, which is why you were always completely out of it. But the colours were fantastic and bled really well onto the paper.
Very much of their time, absolutely,
Exactly.
absolutely. Well, that's what I used to use, but when I then started to not have to do the fashion drawings, which is why I use the sketchbooks, when I started doing the home prints, I was always very attracted to the medieval period. So then I thought the quality of the paint and the mark was much more apparent. I mean, I think pen tools are fine for certain things, but there's nothing like a brush and paint.
Because it's so expressive.
Yes, and I
wonder
like
how
gouache
these are
as
going
well.
to work.
I don't know, we'll have to find out.
Are they secure? I mean, I guess they are.
They're
Yeah.
pretty secure.
Should we have a go?
Let's try.
Oh. Ink, please. And paper. So,
I like false fingernails anyway now. My fingernails are rather like my hair, hard, very, very fragile.
right.
So I do have my artificial nails put on by my
Oh, right.
Vietnamese ladies every fortnight.
How fantastic. So, I hope you like these. These are Winsor & Newton
Okay,
colours, and we divide them by colour. So I'll
Right.
take all the tops off.
okay.
So we can see the colours.
Very nice paper.
Good, good. Hope you approve.
Yeah, I do. Hope you do.
I didn't know if you wanted white or cream.
I'll leave that to you, Stephen. What would you think
Well,
we
I think
should...
let's start off with white.
Okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think also we need. Can I have some saucers, please? Some more saucers, please. Do you
Great.
want to pass me another little plate of inks?
We'll take some of these as well.
Yeah.
It's like as though we're going for dinner with our paints.
Yes. More saucers and yeah, plates of inks, and I'll take the lids off.
Okay.
Should I do it? Because I'm
think
worried about your
I
manicure.
don't want my
you see.
manicure to fall off.
No,
no.
that would not do. So I always loved these when I was growing up, these Winsor & Newton ones, because they had these wonderful little illustrations on the side.
I can't wait to put my little fingers in them.
Now, I'm actually wondering, would it be better if we tipped some onto a plate, do you think?
Well, wait a minute. Let me just have a little try. Let's try blue.
And it works!
It works in a fashion.
How does it feel?
Rather strange.
Ooh.
Might as well draw a leaf for good luck.
A leaf for good luck.
Yeah, I don't know
For
what
the
that-
land.
For the land, yeah.
So, what
So
do you
if we
want?
wanted to change the colour,
We could, maybe that's the thing, you've got rainbow nail. Maybe that's it, that you have different colours. What colour would you
shall we
like?
have a warm colour? Let's have a red.
Red. Okay, so I think there's... excuse me, let me just get these here. So we've got orange, carmine, canary yellow, deep red.
Yeah, yeah. Funny how that finger suggests you can draw with it, whereas these feel quite lame. Do you know what I'm saying? I'll try
No,
with
because
this.
I haven't got the nails on.
No,
Ooh.
I think you should join me, Stephen. I think you should
think?
have some on too, yes.
Maybe I could put hats on things. You said somewhat obviously. Wow. That's amazing.
Well, it's not impossible, is it?
No. Of course, we've been rehearsing for weeks, really, haven't we?
Of course, of course.
Actually, also what you need is you need to have a tissue.
I'm trying to, I think what we could do with is maybe some, I don't want to put water on them yet. Let's see if I can do a bit more with... Yeah, it needs to be a bit of wet, doesn't it, with it?
Do you want to have some water?
Well, I'm thinking...
To bleed the inks?
Do you think I should?
No, I don't know. I just...
It's the maddest idea in the world, this, Stephen.
Isn't it just?
Yes, I feel like a kind of bird.
Actually, what I hadn't thought about was how pretty your hands would look with the colours on them.
What, with the colours on
Yes.
them? Yeah, they're nicer with the colours on, aren't they?
Mm.
The yellow's a bit anemic at the moment.
Do you want an orange then?
Strong, yes, or a green.
Green. I've only got one.
Let's
We've
try that.
got Viridian as well.
Okay.
If you want to have a mixture of Viridian. Ooh.
Ooh. I'm not being very ambitious yet. I've not got brave enough yet. That's cheating a bit because that's your finger.
Well, that's fine. That's finger
think
painting.
that's all right?
finger painting. So we all
Well,
start
okay.
out. We get the potatoes out in a second to make little stars.
I won't mix that into there, I promise. I keep them separate at the moment.
Wow. And how often do you draw? Do you draw every day? Or?
No, I don't draw every day. I doodle a lot. If I'm sitting near a piece of paper, I find myself drawing these things that I just do.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the projects I get given to do because that really tests me. They're always a challenge. And we're just doing the windows at the moment for Uniglow, and that's really quite a problem. And
why is it a problem?
Well, we're doing this. We're putting these curtains like cross-hatching, like Hogarth cross-hatching. And the problem was whether we made them clear on the window or with a blank behind. And I think clear on the window inside and out because you've got two ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got this wonderful assistant called Dan. So we have a lot of fun using we've used lots of the images that we've used on the clothes for Uniglow.
What colour do you want? There's a carmine here as well.
Okay, you just direct me. I don't think I can do anything with that thumb.
No, that's too tricky.
That's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those four are reasonably adept. They're not making very nice patterns yet, but it takes a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's probably quite an answer.
Do you want to move on to a different area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll try. I think I'll just relax with a few of these and then get a bit bolder.
So I'm lining up here: pink, carmine,
Okay.
violet.
Let's try on the pink one.
And are most of your designs based on nature? Do you think they're always floral? Or
No, I've done one called, I've drawn a doggy, I've drawn a cat. I suppose they are all floral. The majority of them are floral or geometric sometimes. I think I'm known for my floral prints, aren't I, really? I like the mixture of prints on the body. I don't really want to have one print. I like mixing them up with hard edge and, you know, checks and then florals. But I've done one called Cherry Pet Spot.
Cherry Pet Spot.
And it's got a dog and a cat in the middle of a floral. It's really funny. I'm pleased with it, actually. So hence Beau, this darling Jack Russell, belongs to my son and daughter-in-law. She takes pride place, Beau, as the doggy's head. So I don't, I suppose lots of my designs are quite abstract, aren't they?
I view sometimes the transparent tropical.
Oh yes,
with palm trees and things.
Oh yeah, California.
I made a series of hats out of those.
I know. I never was there, and you went into the shop, didn't you, a few times, and I never met you. I know.
How did we first meet? Through Andrew and Dougie and
through Andrew.
That's Andrew Logan and Dougie Fields. And,
yes. Andrew's a big pal of mine. Yeah, that's quite a long time ago. Did we meet at a Miss World? I don't know.
Maybe a Miss World, or at Andrew's for dinner, or something.
I saw you at my friend Linda Watson's Vogue book launch. Yes, I don't see Andrew hardly at all. He's always in India, isn't he?
Teaching yoga. I know it's. I saw. You saw the his film.
I did.
The Great British Guide to Showing Off. Such a genius title. And there was one fabulous part of the yoga class when he made everybody skip around the room. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And I have never laughed so much in my life. It was so him.
He's a real entertainer, actually. He's. I don't ever quite understand why he never made it. I think he'd be great on television as a host.
Yes.
And it's never happened.
What is a sort of very colourful Michael Parkinson?
Yeah, much better Jonathan Ross. Yes, but he'd be very calm and. I'm not doing very well. Let's move the paper.
I think let's move the paper.
Let's move the paper, and we'll start again to try and get something that's a bit more.
Oh, and you blot everything.
I can blot it here, can't
I? A friend of mine, Anthony Clave, who's a makeup artist, he worked on Marlene Dietrich's last film. Yeah. And he has a blot of her lipstick framed above the mantelpiece.
Oh my goodness me.
So I think I'm going to eBay that.
Should we try on
should we do it on a cream paper?
Yes. Should we do a monotone one?
Yeah. It's because I've
got
different
black. Greys.
Yeah.
Or the white or the cream, which do you prefer?
I think cream.
Okay.
Cream, and we can do a black on cream.
Yeah.
Maybe
be smart.
Maybe it could be black with a touch of red. You know,
like
I love old
that.
manuscripts.
Yeah.
You know how often the first letter in the calligraphy would be a red letter, and actually let's just rest it on the paper. So that's Indian ink.
Lovely. And I think I can just go over it with these.
Yeah.
You weren't meant to be there. You were not agreeing with me.
Actually, you know what you could do is if you brought your chair slightly further in, it would make you a bit higher, which would change the angle of your body. So
very true. Good thinking.
Or do you want like a little rest for your?
No, I think we should get something more interesting.
Right.
So I will pursue it until we do.
Is that how you design? And do you?
Yes, I think you
go
do. I
sort
think
of after the mistake.
You
not
think
say the mistakes.
you
but
think that's awful, and then you struggle.
That's a fantastic way of getting a very precise repeat.
I know you can get a repeat like this. You just repeat it with the different parts of the finger. I know.
Do you want
I'm going to get a little baby wipe.
Should I do it? Might be easier.
Okay, love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me your hand.
Yeah, because it's quite. It tends to go over onto the finger, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Just clean you up.
Yeah. Before we can.
So
we want to make something interesting.
So you're trying tennis dresses on this afternoon?
Oh, thanks very much.
Yeah. Okay. Turn
Okay.
over. Yeah, that's. Okay, fine, great.
Okay. So this is black, and what's that one there?
That's orange.
Where's the red?
The red, it's a good red.
Okay.
It's a deep red. Do you want to blot it a little bit?
I think what I should do is try and blot it here.
Right.
It stops it going down on the finger.
Even though I have to say, when I'm drawing, I hate people watching me.
Well, I'm trying to ignore you all, I'm afraid, because otherwise my hands would be shaking.
I mean, the worst thing is when I'm with a fashion designer and they say, oh yes, just sit down and draw something, and I have to draw in front of them.
Oh, it's horrible.
And it's always, I get like the nose in the wrong position, or the eyes sort of slightly twisted on the head.
No, it's horrible. It's horrible.
But then you can sort of blag it and say it looks very arty.
I think we might have to do that here, actually, Steve. I think we have to say, as artists, we're allowed to have free reign of the nail painting. Oh, my pen! How fabulous! I left it in the cab, and I thought I'd lost it forever.
Oh no!
My lovely fountain pen. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, that's wonderful. Take me off my.
Should I take
There,
that
let's
here?
go back to black. That's the name of a song, isn't it?
Paint it black.
Paint Back to Black, Amy Winehouse.
Mm-hmm.
So are you working on the collections then now?
Yeah. Well, New York's this weekend.
Right,
Still don't know if I'm going or not.
right.
And then London starts weekend after, next weekend. And then Milan and Paris.
How
So
exciting.
it's all full on, I can tell you.
So is your studio working away as we speak?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's like 25
Yeah.
people there.
I must come and visit you there, because I long
And
to
get a
have
nice
some.
hat like this
Well,
one.
I do, because I wear berets at the moment, because my head's quite cold in the winter, and I'm terribly bored with them. So maybe I should come and visit you.
Well, this is a little beret, but it has got a painted feather in it, a lacquered feather. You see
Well, it's very smart, but I'd be very noticeable in it.
Do you
And
want
I
an
like to be,
incognito beret?
yeah, a bit. And also warm.
Well, that's not really going to keep you warm.
So those would be my requirements.
Okay.
But I'd like a very pretty one as well. I do like hats, but I never really find hats that, except for berets, that I feel comfortable with. And that's a bit boring, actually.
Well, I don't know. I think berets are great. I always think berets are sort of the T-shirt of hats.
Yeah,
really.
it is.
And
It
they
is.
sort of suit
It's a
everybody.
classic, isn't it,
Yeah,
really? Yeah, yeah. But to get something that's a little bit more, you know, little bit more stylish, I will come and visit you.
Actually, what we should be doing with this is taking a picture of it soon and then repeating it 4 times to get a repeat. Can somebody do that here as we're doing it? Yeah.
That's a little request and a half.
A little request and a half. So if you take a picture from above, and I'm sure. Okay.
See, it keeps letting me down because the repeat keeps happening. I think it's your conversation, Stephen. This repeat, you see what happens?
Yeah.
It's like on a screen when you've got a hole in the screen and it keeps blobbing out where you don't want it. They won't be very nice, these, I don't think, at the moment. I'm not very confident about them. But I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying.
You talked about the screen. Are your fabrics printed using screens or are they inkjet?
No, the home ones are all printed by a screen.
Do you want to? So we're going to.
Well,
just going to take a picture.
Not of the fingers, I don't think.
Yeah. Put that into repeat, please.
Oh my goodness! Better get better than this, hadn't I? Better show that I'm a real textile designer and not a phony.
So, I mean, you talked before about a hat being pretty. Do you like your textile design? How do you like your designs to be? Do you want them to be pretty?
No, not always, no. I think they should be appropriate for whatever. I mean, my home fabrics are mainly taken from 17th and 18th century medieval patterns, mainly in the V&A. But I want them to look strong and quite masculine. I'd hate to just be known as a designer of just pretty textiles. That wouldn't really do.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want them to look appropriate for the usage.
And fashion designers around the world use your fashion prints.
Yeah. Yeah.
Name names? Any?
Well, I haven't really worked with anybody since Aussie really in that particular way, and I think the relationship there was fantastic because he had quite a hard edge idea of fashion, and I think mine may, I dare say, added a sort of softness to a rather hard-edged designer. And the whole thing was a very good connection.
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't find that very often in your life.
No.
And then when I opened the shop, I decided to do home because it was quieter and less demanding and
less frenetic, less middle of the night.
Well,
was Aussie middle of the night, and you redoing prints?
I was in the daytime. He was at night.
Right.
Not quite, but I mean, when I did the home, I mean, one of my prints, I did it in 1984, it's never gone out of fashion. I could never say that about fashion. No, no. Because it's like on with the next thing all the time, isn't it?
So I'm just wondering, do you want to tip some of the black ink into that saucer over there?
Do you think that'd be a good idea?
Yeah, I think it'd be easier to get to it.
I can't do much more than little struts.
Yeah.
Because every time I do something else, it seems to... I'm not very pleased with this, actually.
Should we move on to another one, then?
Yes.
Should we go back to the white?
Let me
actually,
just...
there's a...
No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, there's a cream paper here. A white paper here. Maybe that's better. Take that away.
God, my pen came back.
Okay. Should we try different colours?
You say, Stephen.
What haven't we used? Viridian. I love
so
Viridian.
did you do textiles then at college?
Yes, a little bit. When I was on foundation.
When did you start making three-dimensional things?
Well, actually, my textile, sort of textiles and knitting were the same thing for me.
Yeah.
And I have to say that at St Martin's, I set up this knitting machine, and I was actually quite pleased with myself because I got about 6 inches or something like that coming in, and then I pressed one of the buttons, and it dropped to the floor on the weight, and basically I went to the pub and never came back.
I think that was saying something, wasn't it? It was saying a big thing.
God told me to do it, or God told me not to do it. But
I think knitting would be too restrictive for you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not sculpture enough, is it?
But
really?
I love knitted hats, absolutely. And I think sort of with the future in a way is
yes,
knitted hats.
yes.
Berets are knitted. Most people don't know that berets are knitted, but they're knitted and they're made absolutely huge like this.
And drawn
and then boiled and boiled and boiled, and it all felts together.
Well, my secret for this winter is I have 2 berets the same, and I put one inside the other.
Really?
And it gives me more heat and it keeps me warmer. And I've just got 2 simple berets, and I thought it was rather ingenious, actually.
Yes, that's very ingenious.
And it makes it very warm. But now, so when did you start doing the millinery?
So I started at St Martin's. Basically, I couldn't really sew, and my tailoring tutor told me to get some extra experience, and that was the man called Peter Crown, who was at that couture house called La Chasse.
Yeah.
And I went as a sort of tailoring intern for, you've got to, come here, just hold that up, you've got a bit of fluff.
Fluff from the baby wipe. Don't think we'll be editing that bit, actually.
Okay,
let's try and get something interesting going on. There's a bit of fluff on there, isn't there? Cruella de Vil. Very hard to feel the movement. They all look very 60s. Whatever I draw seems to look those sort of psychedelic. Oh my God.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh my God.
Well, I love that one.
Oh right, maybe I should get a bit more splashy, but it would be cheating. It would be with my fingers, wouldn't it?
It's fine.
Maybe we need a bit of solids.
Do a bit of solid.
Yeah. And then maybe line
And then
bring
you can
it in.
When it's dry, then you can
Yeah,
work
let's see if I
into
can do that. So tell me more.
So yes, I was tailoring, but I didn't really enjoy it. And next to the tailoring workroom was a millinery workroom.
Right.
And I was just fascinated by that. And it was.
And who taught millinery then?
There was a lady there called Shirley Hecks who taught me, and then she went on to teach Philip Tracy, and she taught Paul Bernstock and Thelma Spears. She was an extraordinary woman.
Oh, right.
But I think, if she'd been a miner, we would have all gone down a mine. She was just this
She was so dramatic and
charismatic person, absolutely.
What was her name?
Shirley Hecks, H-E-X.
Where is she now?
She lives outside London, but very much sort of part of. She's my millinery mother, really.
Oh.
And she's
so
great.
she taught you to do things.
Still puts the fear of God in me when she comes to the showroom. I always go around
Never
all
changes,
and
does it?
and make sure there aren't any dodgy bits of stitching.
Oh, that's rather nice. She should be very pleased.
Yeah, I know Philip's slightly terrified of her too.
There's always these dragons in art schools, but they actually do.
Yeah.
They seem to be the ones that people remember.
Mm-hmm. And did you have somebody who...
I had a marvellous teacher in Salford, yes, who I just adored. He died last year. And I kept in touch with him, and he was very inspirational. I mean, I just think we liked each other. And so I had a lovely time at art school. I really enjoyed it. But there are people that... I always think I've tumbled into my career in many ways. I mean, you actually...
Oh, I completely tumbled into my career.
I just tumble
it was
all the
decided
time.
for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's beyond you, really.
As opposed to some great ambition.
Yeah.
I remember Nick Knight saying the way... there's a thing called Soul ID, which is produced by Trisha Jones, who's the wife of Terry Jones from ID magazine.
Right.
And it's sort of a self-help book, really.
Yeah.
And in it, there's a quote from Nick, and he says the way to become a famous photographer is you have to take photographs of your friends when you're about 14 years old, then you hide them all under the bed, and then you get them out 10 years later and publish a book, and then you're famous. I mean, I don't know if it's as simple as that.
I think they have to be quite good photographs.
Yes, I think that's...
I think you have to have a good eye.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good eye for I mean, that's the problem with... A lot of people think photography is easy, but if you don't have a good eye, really wasting your time, aren't you?
Yes, And did your parents design, or
my father was really quite artistic, and he was very bookish. And when I discovered something like Radio Luxembourg in my teenage life and played Elvis Presley, I think he was going to have a heart attack every 5 minutes. And he used to say terrible things like, if Frank Sinatra was a politician, he'd be the President of the United States, and completely sort of...
fantastic.
He was very straight, and he had these 3 rather sort of difficult daughters. I think we were okay to... Yes, but you know, he liked lovely music, and he liked good pictures, and... so I think all that, and my mother, you see, made all our clothes. So she was a doer, and he was a sort of brain. And she was a terribly nice mother. I can't sew. I hate sewing.
Right.
And I think people are quite surprised at that. I absolutely loathe it. I've got a lot of patience for lots of things, but I always remember Ozzy trying to show me how to put a zip in a skirt. I got so wild with it, I threw it in the fire. So, and my mother sewed all my life. I used to sit with her and watch her. Like, I loved watching her. It was therapeutic, but it never talked to me.
Right. I love this. I think this is a winner.
I think we're getting a bit more relaxed. It's a bit more learning how to not do those rather bad. They look like bamboo. You know, those bamboo pens, they were looking like that a bit, weren't they? This is a bit more hopeful. I'll add another colour in a minute.
I think we might, do you think we'll get a repeat design bag? So we'll see how that one works. Which I think could be a fabulous education for people, how to put things into repeat.
Yes, yes.
Do you ever teach?
I did teach a bit. I did teach at... Chelsea, and I've done a bit at St Martin's. I think my happiest days were at Chelsea, because I would teach them still life drawing, which I rather enjoyed, because, you know, you had a still life, and then you had 12 students, and then you gave them the pastels and said, get on with it. And the most surprising people had a 3-dimensional, I'm only 2-dimensional, but then I suddenly saw people had volume, and I thought, you know, you should be a painter, actually, because you have to have volume to be a painter. And so I really enjoyed that, but whatever happened afterwards, I don't know. I only ever taught part-time, so you never were in control of the project. You were sort of helping somebody else.
Are you okay? Are you cleaning up?
Yeah, they're drying out. I'm just thinking of what colour to put on next. I think maybe a bit of red.
Do you want red? We've got orange
What's
as well.
this one?
That's...
Is that a pink?
Yeah, I think... No, what one is that? That's the deep red, again.
Maybe a bit brown, isn't it? So do you enjoy going to the shows? Isn't that really rather exciting?
It is very hard work, though. And everybody says when I come back, oh, wasn't it wonderful? And yes, it is, and it is extraordinary to work with those people, but it is always very stressful too. But it's, especially working in Paris, because it's about big
Which
glamour.
designers are you working with?
Well, I'm working with Dior.
Lovely.
With Raf Simons.
Right, yeah.
And that's great that he's there now. And I work here with Giles in the UK and with Marc Jacobs in America.
Lovely.
So, very, very busy. But every designer who I work with
has a different brief.
Has a very different brief. That's why it was interesting that you were saying about working with Ossie, because he was the one person. Because, I mean, if you get on with somebody, then you can work with them. If you don't get on, there's no point.
No. I remember years ago, actually, Marc Jacobs contacted me, and I didn't know who he was then. It's about 15 years ago, before it all happened. And I thought, no, I don't want to do fashion. I like doing home. And then, of course, I watched his career develop, and he knew some people I knew in New York. I'm a fan. I think he does wonderful things. And I've never met him, but I knew people that he knew
Right.
And that was a missed opportunity, I thought, actually.
Oh.
I'm quite a fan of his,
Well, when I see him, I'll say
you can say, do you remember that creature that you faxed years ago? That was when it was.
Right,
Yes,
right.
a little while ago.
Oh, well.
And he wasn't known at all. I thought, who is this person? And but I think he's clever and rather naughty.
Very naughty, actually.
Well, that's all right, isn't it? That's his own fault.
I don't really... always a bit concerned if people aren't naughty.
Well, exactly.
It's pretty.
I do think then that's rather a good thing for you to be doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you finish this one, then you start another one.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is... now between the haute couture, the men's shows, the pre-collections, the cruise collections, and the pret-a-porter, it is year-round. There's always, and there was an article, I think, in Vogue magazine about how there is a fashion week somewhere in the world every week of the year.
I know, I know.
There is so much fashion now. People don't understand how there used to be so little fashion in comparison.
When people ask me, I just say it was so innocent. It was boutiques and just little emporiums, you know, Quorum, which is in Radnor Walk, this little one shop. And you think fashion now is big business, isn't it?
Huge. And people sort of don't really believe me. Even when I started, I remember, what colour would you like to have?
I think we need another blue, don't we? Maybe that blue, that
I've
blue.
got that blue, and there's a violety blue as well.
Let's try this one. They're looking pretty dreadful. Never mind. That's quite a pretty blue. Carry on, Stephen. Where were we?
Where were we? I'm just examining...
Talking about the big business.
The big business, yeah. Because Quorum was where you started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness me.
You see?
Looks like a
It's very futurist.
Well, yes, it is very
Futurist.
I'm not at all futurist. I don't know what's happening here. It's perhaps this lovely room.
That's great. I love that. Hang on a second. Let me see. Whoa.
I'm intrigued by your career, though. I want to know how many you have to do for each collection, for instance.
It's different.
It's different each time.
It's different each time, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes a designer will want to have one style of hat, which is worn all the way through the show, so that really becomes his or hers identifiable hat of the season.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's about the individuality as well. So it can all work in different ways. And sometimes it's part of the show. Say, for example, when I was working with Raf this season for the haute couture, we just did hats for the bridal section at the end. And that was a way of really defining that there was a different group of dresses.
Yes.
So hats are such a visible, visible and important
accessory. They do really finish something off, don't they, in a way that nothing else can.
See, I'm making you a little hat out of your print.
So you can't stop. So creative, aren't we? Don't know about me today, though. I'm doing a few Howard Hodgkin splodges, but
there you are.
I think we really do need paintbrushes, don't you? Looking at my poor little nails.
Yes.
I think they were a very clever thing to do.
It's very out damn spot.
Where's that?
Yeah, you've got a little hat.
There's a little tiny hat.
What's on top of your feather, you see? Ooh, there we go.
Right. Does it look as nice as the other hat? I don't think so, do you? Well, I'll leave
it does
to
to a certain something.
I'll leave it to
you. See, you've done a printed hat now.
Oh.
And what do you think this design would be called?
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think...
Not Howard Hodgkin.
It is a bit Howard Hodgkin. I like some of his big spot pictures. I don't know yet, really. I'm doing more with my finger, aren't I, than the nib. But it's softer, isn't it? It's not as hard.
But I think there's the combination of the two.
Yeah,
Which is fascinating.
Yeah.
So, for example, on this, if you took away the finer lines, it would look too splodgy.
But you need a bit of fine line to draw it together, don't you?
Actually, really what you should have is the manicure just on one hand.
I know.
I'm going to remove this.
But it's an experiment, Stephen. We didn't know. I'm not left-handed, so I couldn't really do it with that. So,
and this is all going to go into a magazine called A Magazine, which I'm guest curating.
Yes, I heard.
And this is going to come out during
I've never seen it. So when does one see it?
Well, we're going to have a launch in London, I think at Bookmark, which is Mark Jacobs' bookshop in London.
Right.
In South Audley Street. And that's going to be on the 8th, I think, of March.
Lovely.
And we're doing a launch in Paris a few days earlier. And it's, you know, they asked me to do the magazine, and they'd asked various other people to do it in the past. You know, there's Martin Margiela, Yoji Yamamoto, Lorenzo Schuler.
It's rather a nice thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, and you have, it's not as though I come and do one fashion story.
And you've got control.
You do it completely from top to bottom. And I wanted to do it all on illustration. I think illustrations are slightly the underdog of the sort of magazine world at the moment.
It's not really
fashionable.
It's not really a thing, is it? I think because photographs are so much more instant. People don't really teach illustration anyway, do they, anymore?
I mean, they do. I mean, for example, I have lots of different contributors to the magazine, and one of them is Howard Tanguy, who's the head of women's wear at St Martin's.
Oh, I know him. He's very nice.
And a fantastic illustrator.
He's very nice.
And it was really fascinating.
I don't know his illustrations, actually.
He's amazing. What colour do you want? And funnily enough, I asked him about his first experience of drawing. And he said when he was 3 or 4 years old, because he had picture books and he wanted to do the same thing, and he copied picture books at a really, really young age.
Really?
Yeah. And he remembered doing it sort of before he went to school.
He teaches pattern cutting and things, and no, he doesn't. He teaches drawing.
Yes.
And he has a live drawing class.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
But it was
I do know, I've met him a few times.
So he's done some fantastic contributions for the magazine. In the magazine we have a pull-out section, which is a calendar, and he has done 3 illustrations for that. An extraordinary Comme des Garçons dress, all made out of flowers. And the way that he does it, I mean, I didn't know how he would do the illustrations, but in fact what he does, he builds up layers and layers of paint in oils, and then works into it with a palette knife and scratches it away. So it's this huge, huge process.
I'm dying to see it. Dan showed me a few things before of the cover and everything. So it's really exciting. It's all built around illustration.
Yeah, and we have all sorts of illustrators. We've got Giles Deacon doing illustrations. We've got people who've illustrated hats of mine over the years.
Yeah.
We had some from Barbara Bulanicki.
Do you know, I was just going to say her, when I was at art school, we used to love her drawings. They were really good.
Yeah, and
they were so exact, and you knew exactly what the garment looked like. They weren't too clever. I mean, they weren't sort of Cecil Beaton style, dare I say. And they were.
Did you know Cecil Beaton?
I met him a couple of times. Yes, I did.
What was he like?
Well, he looked marvellous, didn't he? And he was just the most stylish man. I went to his house once, which was marvellous.
Was that in Pelham Crescent?
I went there. I went to a party there. Then I went to his house in Wiltshire with this wonderful conservatory with a fountain and auriculas everywhere, and he was wearing a beautiful big hat. Actually, it was in the paper last week, a picture by Peter Schlesinger of David Hockney and Cecil Beaton sitting talking to each other. And he had this wonderful dark green velvet suit on with a cravat and was laughing. I think he was a terrible snob, but
oh yes, yes,
and,
I think he was.
I think he was, but I think he had great style. Now I'm doing better, you see, with that little pad on that finger, much better than I'm doing with those.
Right.
And I'm not being able to do marks that I want to do there, so I can't do any more to that, because I was going to do some rather nice stripes. Looks a bloody big mess actually, Stephen, but we'll keep going.
Can you do stripes with the nail?
Well, you see, when I do it with the nail, it jumps onto the finger, like that little thing there, which I don't think is very successful actually. But
this one?
No.
It's a great textile print though.
You are sweet.
Don't you think?
No, I don't. I don't think he knows what it is. I mean, the hat's very nice, but I'm not doing terribly well with this. Anyway, it's fun. I'm pleased I came to do it, and I like the hat you put on my head.
Good. So what's this? Is foliage here?
I suppose that's foliage half done. And then I've moved into stripes, which I adore. I love stripes.
You said you always like combinations of different prints.
I do.
So you like flowers with geometrics.
I do. And I originated that idea because when I used to go to the V&A many moons ago, they had a marvellous ceramics section on the top floor, and they'd have all this lovely Japanese pottery, and the plates would be completely like little tapestries, well, like patchwork. And I always thought, what a lovely idea to get a little check with a spot, with a star, with a this, with a that. And I've carried that through my career, because I think sometimes just to have one print on a dress can be very boring. And because, you know, we're all different bits, I always think it gives it another dynamic.
And when you're designing dresses, do you want one bit to be on the body and one bit to be on the sleeves, or do you like them slipping over those natural junctions?
Well, when I look at my illustrations, sometimes they do what you're saying, and then other times they change all over the place. I just sort of feel my way through them and think, well, these proportions work here. And he then would come along and give it another look. We haven't done that for Uniqlo, of course, we've just done single prints, but you can buy a pair of trousers and a top and a t-shirt and a scarf, and some of it looks like camouflage because all the proportions are different, and that gives me a buzz. I like those.
Actually, one of the other things that we have in the magazine is Keith Haring's prints for Vivienne Westwood, which have been collected by Kim Jones, who's the menswear designer at Vuitton.
Right,
and he has an amazing collection, also of lots of other early 80s people like Body Map and Lee Bowery and all those people, which is how all those people when we first knew each other.
Yes.
So we have a quote from Vivienne about Keith Haring. We have.
Did you know him?
Yes, I did.
I didn't know him at all.
No, he was amazing.
I was a fan, but I never met him.
He was such a superstar in those days.
Very, very sad. He'd have gone on, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yes, completely.
He would have moved on.
But actually, I mean, his work has gone on because there's exhibitions, and his work is used on home products, and you know, etc.
Oh no, I mean, it's got quite a long life, but you think he would have? I don't know. He would have probably moved on from that, and the way he used the ordinary and made it sort of extraordinary was what was his talent. And so you think he would have done something else with what's going on now.
Oh, absolutely. But there's still always the charm of like the little dog barking with bark mat signs coming out of it.
I know.
So fantastic.
I know.
How are we doing?
I've moved into purple, which isn't one of my favourite colours actually. I'm no good with purple. I never use it.
Really?
I like it on other people. I don't know. I've been asked that before, and I don't like it. I don't like working with it. I can't make a combination out of it.
Well, because it's already combined.
Maybe, because it's very regal.
Because it's already red and blue. I mean, I'm looking at your scarf.
Oh, yes.
You know, and if you close your eyes slightly,
you've got the red and blue, makes purple.
True.
True.
maybe it's sort of already done and you like to do.
Yes, unless you can make lilac like Matisse did, and that's softer, isn't it?
Yes.
Paler lilacs.
Wisteria.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not very proud of these, Stephen, but I have tried.
Well, it's the first time.
It's the first time, yes.
First
I'd have to find which finger. You see, they are difficult because you get this in when you're getting that in.
How are we doing for time?
Are we jabbering on?
20 past 3.
Right, right.
You see, if you wanted to do...
That's fabulous.
If you wanted to do that...
How clever is that?
Oh.
It's like when people are playing the violin and they play all the strings at the same time. Get really strange chord combinations.
Well, all I can say is no one would ever know I was a textile designer from these, but I am trying in a rather unusual position.
So how much longer do we have? Just trying to... About 5 minutes. Okay.
5?
Yeah.
I better show a bit of... yes. I think it's much nicer talking to you than doing it, really. We don't know each other at all, you know, really. We've never really met. Only briefly.
Briefly?
Yeah.
And sort of at dinner parties?
Yeah.
You look lovely, darling.
Exactly. You know it all, Stephen. You know exactly what it's like.
Everything I know.
Dear me. No, I remember going to your exhibition at the Anna Piaget exhibition, and your little hats were in the entrance. They looked beautiful in the when we walked in. And you were a really good friend of hers, weren't you?
Yeah. And this issue of the magazine actually is dedicated to her, because she absolutely adored illustration, of course. She had that magazine called Vanity in the early 80s, and which Antonio illustrated.
Oh, he was very good, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He was very good. I saw something the other week connected to him, and I thought, God, you've been gone a long time.
Mm. Did you know him?
No, I didn't, but I remember Vernon Lambert.
Vernon Lambert, yeah.
And he was in Chelsea Antiques Market.
Yes.
And so I knew him. I never knew her. In fact, I never really met her. I came to the show that you did at the V&A, and I'd like to have met her. Never happened.
Oh, actually, I'll tell you something. Wait, I'm sure you don't know this. That she was, when she passed away last year, she was actually buried in one of Ozzy's dresses. Because it was her favourite dress, printed one, which was like the most searing bright yellow you've ever seen in your life, with the green overprint.
Oh, really? Not with fringes on as well?
I can't remember, sorry to say.
How interesting. Well, because she was only up the road, but I never really worked in the King's Road. I used to go and visit, but I was always in Notting Hill, really.
So is Notting Hill still home?
Well, at the moment I'm living in Acton, but I'm going to end up in Ravenscourt Park, because the shop closed, and it's changed so much where I lived 28 years. And I've always lived round Notting Hill. I always wanted to live with a proximity of Portobello.
Right.
And with driving and everything now, it's all changed so much. It's all become people digging basements and making swimming pools, and not friendly people. It's changed.
Totally.
And my neighbour Ray's leaving as well now, that was there forever. And so we thought it's time for a change. And so that's what we're doing. It's quite a process, because half my things I don't know where they are. But I like it. I'm pleased I've made this move.
Right. I'm just thinking that this looks quite Mediterranean now.
It does, actually. Maybe that's where one thinks one should be in this bleak winter.
The grey sky.
I don't like the grey skies, nor the wind.
Are you a sunny person then?
I don't like the sun too much, but I did watch a programme the other week on the Riviera. And
actually, that's what this looks like. This looks a very
I know,
Riviera.
it's a bit doofy Riviera gone crazy, hasn't it? And it showed you Matisse's home, which was his home for I think 12 years.
Do a little bit more.
And he didn't ever go out and mainly painted interiors, but it was a light that he loved. And then he showed the room before and after almost, an empty room that apparently was once his, and then it showed you his interpretation. He thought he was such a genius, wasn't he?
Fantastic.
Really fantastic.
Well, I know we have to wind up now, actually, but I think we should carry on painting this one.
The Riviera.
The Riviera.
The Dream Riviera.
Yeah. What's going to happen now?
Well, it needs, I don't know, you see, I want to do things and the little horrible grubby fingers won't let me do it. But
so you need a good wash.
Yeah, I need to have a nice little, a manicure.
A manicure.
Now, another
yes,
manicure.
Yes.
Please, somebody.
Yes. But yeah, I think we have to say goodbye to everybody.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks.
And
I love the Riviera. Thank you.
very nice, Stephen. I hope some of it's usable.
Yes, I'm sure.
Good, 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 good.